Hey, this is Keena B, and welcome to Say Anything. Say anything.
Why can't you just say anything?
I'm gonna say anything.
People just say anything.
I swear, people just say anything. Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. Hey, welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. I am Keena B. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a podcast about everyday life matters and real situations that impact your day-to-day life, from love, marriage, children, sex, weight gain, weight loss, books, movies, being an entrepreneur, grief, loss, fashion, politics, philosophy, and silliness. You name it, we talk about it and we'll talk about it. So, welcome to Say Anything with Keena B.
Welcome to the podcast. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We are talking about making the season meaningful without breaking your budget or shattering your mental health. Every year around this time, social media hits us with the oversaturated holiday aesthetic. Perfect Christmas pajamas, perfect family, perfect trees, perfect budgets, perfect mood. But most of us aren't living in a Hallmark movie. Shout out to Hallmark. We're living real life. Life where grief shows up, life where the money is tight, life where family can be loud and triggering and unpredictable, life where the holidays feel heavy and beautiful at the same time. So today's episode is about changing our filter, not to match a aesthetic that you see on social media, but to protect our peace as much as possible. We're talking grief, we're talking mental health, we're talking about fun things that you can do for free to create more memories. And it's less about receiving and more about giving and making the holidays meaningful. And most importantly, about changing your filter, our filter, my filter, so that we're not viewing the holidays through pressure or perfection. And for some of us, the holidays is like the Olympics or the World Series, your World Cup, your Super Bowl. But to many other people, it's heavy and it's overwhelming. How do we change our filter for the holidays? Let's first talk about grief and loss. The holidays can sometimes amplify the absence of the people that we have lost. And loss comes in many forms. Sometimes it's through death, sometimes it's through distance and separation, sometimes it's through fractured relationships. How do we deal with the grief of the loss of people that we hold dear to our lives this holiday season? Well, I'm going to offer some suggestions that are given by reputable institutions and organizations, which I will provide those references further on into the podcast. If you have managed to go this far and you have listened to this point, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast. If you're watching on Spotify, hey, please leave a comment. If you're listening and watching on YouTube, hey, please follow and subscribe. Hit that notification button, leave a comment. I appreciate you. One thing that we could all do better is acknowledging the actual grief that we are feeling during the holidays. I know for the last month or so, I've been thinking really heavily about my grandparents. I was blessed enough to know them while I was young, growing up, and even into my teenage years. They were living. They have since all passed. And this past year, but particularly this last couple of months, I've been thinking really heavily about my grandmothers. One lived in Houston and the other one lived here in Florida. And they were different in a lot of ways, but also very much the same. They were both very strong women. They were both born and raised in the South. They were both ones who provided and cooked for their families. But aesthetically, they were different. My grandmother in Texas was the kind of person who had that velvet furniture and the beads hanging down um, in her. Uh, it lived in a duplex apartment, so she had the bottom part of the duplex, and she lived there for over 40 years. But she had those beads that used to hang down between the living area and the dining room. She had the velvet furniture. She even had some velvet art pieces, and she had that lighting, like with the red lampshade, that when the whole wall would look like it was red, very Bordeaux, very Bordeaux esque, and just the remembering uh, that aesthetic and then who she was as a person. Um, it is so wonderful to think about. But then there is my grandmother in Florida who had a garden and grew all types of vegetables and would cook full on massive meals every single Sunday. And when I was a teenager, I used to go every Sunday and help her cook. And that's how I learned how to make traditional cornbread dressing. From her, I would come into the kitchen and she would literally just sit down in her spot. She had a chair that she would sit in. It was the same chair all the time. And I would take over whatever it was that was being cooked. And she taught me how to make traditional cornbread dressing. I learned how to cook greens from her. I learned how to cook the traditional cornbread from her, the chicken and rice from her. I mean, I learned how to cook a lot of things from her. My mom learned from her, and my mother taught me as well. But a lot of these additional details I got from her directly, just going into that kitchen, and she would sit down, and then you would have the ability to ask her anything while learning how to cook. And she was just a sweet, awesome spirit, just a sweet, awesome spirit. And I miss her. I miss her dearly. I miss the ability to just go and sit at her house. I miss the ability to be surrounded by family, a massive amount of family all at one time, even with the craziness. And I'm not really big on like large groups, but I love the idea of family being able to get together and be comfortable with one another, and people just running around outside and just chatting it up. In Houston, we would play a lot of games like Fantan and spades and anything that you can you can gamble with. Uno for sure. Um, we just played a lot of games. And here in Florida, we will play spades, um, and just kind of sit and talk. I just miss that type of camaraderie because once the grandparents passed away, it was just the ability to get together like that changed and shifted. Everybody had their own individual family groups. And so a part of the grief and loss is the fact that one, you lose the person, but then you lose the connection, the traditional connection with all of the family members. And you have to reestablish it in different ways because there's not that one hub anymore. There's all these different nuclear family situations. And so you have to create reasons for people to come out and want to be in one center space. With one another. So it's a loss of not just a person, but what that person represented as a whole when it comes to um, a foundation, because through their deaths, distance became and separation became a thing with other family members. Um, and so, how do we combat that? How do we deal with it would be a better way. Um, Grief can show up in a lot of ways. It can show up in waves that we're not even thinking about. It can be nostalgia, it could be irritability, it could be loneliness, it could be emotional fatigue, um, weariness, things like that. One thing we should truly acknowledge is that we can feel um, joy and sadness at the same time. We can look back on a memory and be like, oh, that was so fun. That was immensely enjoyable, but also hold space for the sadness of not having that same ability to do that same thing right now, or that that person is not in your life. You can hold both. It happens where we feel both emotions simultaneously. Um, and you don't have to push one out in order to feel the other. You just don't. It happens. So, a couple of different practices that have been suggested in order to kind of deal with the feeling of loss and grief. Creating moments of remembrance, finding things that you can do that allow you to remember people whom you no longer have in your life, but you have a great fondness for, whether it's lighting a candle, saying a prayer, meditation, journal writing, letting yourself step away and grieve about the situation, but then not isolating yourself completely and coming back. Give yourself the space to step away, but also remember to come back. Announcing or letting those who really care about you and that you have a close relationship with know your emotional bandwidth or your boundaries. And you can even tell those individuals you don't have a close relationship with, but they're like emotionally dumping on you. You can be like, hey, look, I can't take on your burden and my burden at the same time. I can only go so far with this at this moment. It's okay to tell people that you can't deal with the other things going on. It's okay to put a limit to it. Also, not forcing holiday cheer. You don't have to force it. You don't have to go at all. You can step away. Again, step away if you have to. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. But I'm going to say, in turn, when considering not forcing holiday cheer, also consider that you definitely should step away if you feel like you're going to be emotionally dumping on others. Um, it Because they also may not be able to handle it. The fact that you're not feeling well. So it's not that I think it boils down to everybody being considerate of everybody else's feelings and what they may or may not be going through. That's what it ultimately boils down to. You don't go to places to bring other people's energy down, but you also don't allow people to bring your energy down. This takes us seamlessly into protecting your mental state, protecting your emotional settings. And you would do this by boundary setting, setting time limits to how much you spend doing things, saying no without having to give an explanation, removing guilt from your self care. Being able to recognize the triggers and preparing a plan for yourself in order to avoid those triggers if you can. But sometimes triggers are just unavoidable. So you have a plan of how you're going to react to those triggers, whether it means stepping away, whether it means grounding yourself and journaling, whether it means avoiding social media, You please turn off the phone if you need to. Stop doom scrolling. If it's impacting you in a way that you know that it's going to eventually cause you to have pain, then you need to step away from it. Don't force it. Gentle reminder, protecting yourself, protecting your mental health is not isolating yourself, okay? It's being mindful about how others may impact you. But also, don't isolate yourself to the point, it's like a real good balance here. You want to be able to step away, but you don't want to put yourself in a position where you are always so alone that you lose full connection with any and all family. You have to have connections. You do. We need connections in this world. Don't lose all of your connections. So, best practices. I mentioned earlier that I was going to share some resources with you that where all this information is coming from so that you can, one, go look at it yourself, but two, research even more things that you should be able to do during the season in order to keep yourself mentally healthy and looking forward to the season. And I'm looking forward to the season. Okay, so some of the references: American Psychological Association, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the CDC, also Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the Mayo Clinic. Some additional things that you can do to protect yourself and to be a part of the plan that you have for this season: journaling. And you can get a cheap journal, cheap journal, 50 cents, a quarter, a dime. I'm not saying you have to go out and get any type of fancy, crazy journal. Go pick up a notebook, pad, a pencil, paper, and just start writing about your feelings and what you're feeling and sitting with it for a second. But don't dwell in it. Don't stay there. Acknowledge it. The whole point of journaling is to let out your emotions and acknowledge what you're feeling, but not to actually stew in it. Also, set realistic expectations for this season. It is okay if everything does not go perfectly. Okay? It is okay if not every single ornament is on the tree. It is okay if the color scheme is it's not the perfect shade of burgundy or the perfect shade of cream, whatever it may be. Let those things that don't work out just fall to the side, because there's no reason, as they say, to uh, stress over spilled milk, right? Just clean up and move on. Sleep. Get some good sleep, rest, take naps. It is, please go to bed. Do not stay up looking at phone screens and computer screens and laptops and television. You have got to get some rest. It does help your mental state. Set budgets and boundaries on how much you're going to be spending for people's gifts, if you choose to give gifts at all, or make it one of those types of year where you make your own gifts. Give the gift of memories instead of things, and that will save your budget as well, because that way y'all can pull your money together and do something that's much more memorable that you'll be able to have than versus things that will break and you won't even remember the next year. Schedule breaks, schedule some downtime where you are not doing anything, you're just allowing yourself to rest. Fun things to do that are free or very low cost that you can do alone or with family members that will allow you to stay under budget but still create great memories this season. Go on intentional walks. How about that? First day, go on walks with your family. Go on long walks and just go visit people. on your long walks. Go say hey to your neighbors. Have a conversation. Go have a long talk with your cousin. Go for a walk and talk about life. Go uh, greet someone and just catch up a little bit and get off the phone. Go to free local events. A lot of cities have local free events, like outside events or even inside, where you can go and take part of things that are happening for free. I know in some cities they have outdoor theaters that are free, or maybe they just accept donations, but technically they're free. Um, Parks are free, you know. Go to the local park that you have and take some time. Let's see a home spa day. Break out the foot bath, break out the foot bath and the nail polish and all your little nail stuff that you have but you don't use, and do your own home spa day. Okay, get your little hot towel. You could do your own hot towel facial. Okay, you could do your own hot towel around your legs and have your own spa day at home, because you have a lot of stuff you have at home, you just don't use them. You have a bunch of candles that you don't light. You have a bunch of these scented bath things that you don't use. Have your own spa day. Um, Pick up a book that you've already read and read it again. Pick up something that you read 10 years ago, read it again and see if it reads the same. You liked it 10 years ago, or maybe you hated it 10 years ago. Maybe you could never get through it 15 years ago. But this time around, you're like, life has changed. You've changed. Let's see if you can still get through it or if that book is still trash. Go to a free museum. Go to an art gallery. Come to Wimbia's Market, Quincy, Florida. We are open. Look at some art. Go watch the sunrise. Go watch the sunset. Enjoy nature. Rearrange your room. You've been staring at the room and you've been wanting to rearrange your room, just the furniture. I'm not saying go buy paint and paint anything. You can if you want to. Now's a good time. But you could just move the furniture. Like, you've been wanting to move it for a long time. And sometimes just changing the furniture is enough to shift your whole mood. It's enough just to reset. Have a popcorn topping party. Okay, you know how people have ice cream sundae parties and they build their own ice cream? They'll have a whole ice cream bar and they can put their own toppings and stuff like that. You can do the same thing with popcorn. And make it like the traditional way. You can use a microwave if you want to, but if you want a little extra fun, make it the traditional way on the stove or over a fire, and then have a topping, different toppings that you can put on your popcorn, and then pair that with a movie marathon, a themed movie marathon. I mean, don't stream it. You can if you want to, but don't stream it. I suggest you break out that old VHS or that old DVD player and find all those movies that you used to have back in the day, pop them in, and just do a old movie marathon with a popcorn topping party. That's fun. You can even make your own caramel. You could have chocolate sauce. You could do a lot of the same things you would put on ice cream sundaes. Like, it gets interesting. It gets, and they have the savory toppings and they have the sweet toppings. So that can get really interesting. The holidays are not one size fits all. You get to decide the filter to look through. Pressure or permission, obligation or intention, chaos or clarity. Protect your joy, honor your grief, and give yourself a holiday that feels like it's yours. I wish you the absolute best. And no matter what holidays you celebrate or don't celebrate, I hope that you find exactly what you're looking for. Peace to you.